So for you, hold on. It might be a little bit of a roller coaster ride for this week, but you're going to come out shiny. So Taurus, the card that I picked was New Love, but it really doesn't mean what you think it means. The chapter in your life is about to begin, meaning that, although it says new love, but it's, it could be a partner, it could be rekindled. For some people, rekindled love or a current relationship, but it's not only that, it is all of your relationships. It is new people, whatever they are, business, finance, whatever it is, coming into your life. And they will be there because there's changes and transitions that are happening within the dynamics of any relationships that you have, no matter what they are. So, but don't cling to any old ideas of what you think any relationship should be. Just be open for the universe. The angels are working for your highest good. And sometimes change can be painful, but if you cling onto it, your old thought systems, behaviors, it just makes it worse. So let go with the flow, and let the old stuff wash away, and it'll be replaced with new aspects that will support. So that's the message for Taurus this week. Gemini, I pulled the forgiveness card. So, again, this is saying, let it go. Don't let anger, frustration, or irritation, or just because somebody's a moron, that to bother you. Let it go,
Yeah, morons beware.
All right, it's not good that, what they did is wrong to you, and neither condoning their behavior. But in the end result, who is the one who's going to be suffering? Because you're holding on to that achy energy. So you need to let go of that energy and just say, I am no longer willing to carry around the crap, the luggage, the pain, or whatever it is of that situation. Just let it go and let the forgiveness and the I want to say pain and residue of the negative energy out of your heart. Free yourself in order for you to move on, and let it be open and for something new and joyous to come in. All right, so that's the message for this week for Gemini. The message for Cancer.
Ooh.
Prayers answered. Fear not, Cancer. Your prayers have been answered. If you've been asking for something from the angels, the universe, like, come on, like, do this for me, dude. It's time to sit back and wait and let them come knocking at your door. You've done the work. You've asked. You've done the request. They've heard you. They know they're saying, be observant, because you never know where it's going to come from expected places. Your prayers have been answered. You've done all the work. Now it's time to look for the signs. You might receive new opportunities that might just, boom, appear in front of your eyes. You might run into an earth angel of some sort that'll just, here you go, So they're saying, be very alert, watch for the signs. Your prayers have been answered. You're good. So, that's for this week. Just be mindful, be alert, look around. Your prayers have been answered. Just look for where it's going to drop. And so that's mine for the week. And Dorothy, how about yours?
Woohoo! Good job, ladies.
Yeah,
good job. So we're going to hang with Drita this week because all her prayers will be answered. So we can help. We can't help but have a good time. Let me tell you, you thought of her. Do you know who we got?
The lottery.
You won the. Yeah, let's go.
I should play it this week.
That's the one. Play it for all of us. We'll syndicate with you. Look, I tell you what.
Yes,
who do you not want to be around this week? Because this is my department here. You don't want to be around Leo. Leo. Uh-oh. So, Leo, your world, or the card that I drew from you from the Dark Rose Divination deck is Asylum. And I'm really drawn, this isn't great, to there's a dying flower in the middle corner of the room. And it's hard to notice. So I think that this week you're going to feel like, what am I, chopped liver? Everybody's going nuts around me. They don't seem to care about me. and it's really like everything's piling on. It feels like stacks on the mill to me, and that I don't see that you kind of come out fighting over this, but I do feel like you've taken a few batters or a couple of hits this week, and you don't seem to know where it's coming from. And that's the thing, your whole thought is everybody gone crazy because there seems to be little caring or interest in how you feel or what you think after you've applied quite a lot of energy to stuff. So quite an interesting thing. From a broader perspective, if you happen to have a Leo in your life, try and haul it back a little bit. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling scared, it's better to have a conversation about it than attack people around you, by the way. So for Leo, there's that sense of being attacked, if you like, but not having a reason for it. So the whole response to that energetically is, are you crazy? Are you all going crazy? And it feels like it revolves through the week. That means to me that there may be more than one incidence here that makes you feel this way, Leo. So if I was you, I would just go and lock myself in a room and tell everybody to go blow. This is a week where that might be a good thing to do. I don't think it's bad being around a Leo, although I said avoid them. I think when I said avoid them or not be around them, it's to give them that space, not to let your naughty side come out in the face of whatever your own fears are. And that's what it really feels like. And it also feels that Leo is very, very sensitive to that this week. Now for Virgo, we've got the Power card, and I'm really drawn to, there's a lot of baubles hanging on a tree behind our Black Panther here. And I just get the feeling that you just think you can do anything this week, Virgo. You just feel in charge. You feel like anything I try will work out. My problem is I get the idea that you may get attracted to or be drawn to a shiny object that doesn't serve you in the end. So watch out for arrogance this week. Watch out for feeling like you know everything and that you're in charge of everything. If you are around a Virgo, you may find that they're not listening to advice that you give them, no matter how good it is. And that being the case, there could be some recriminations later, especially in a relationship, if you're advising your partner not to do something, or your kid or your parent not to do something, and they go ahead and do it anyway. There could be a chance to say, I told you so, which is never a bad thing. So I've got the Power card for you, Gemini, and I don't see it as all bad, by the way. What I'm saying is don't get arrogant with things and don't underthink something because you think you know it all. I think this is going to play into your week at least once. When you come off a little bit arrogant too, it can be as if you know everything that's going on for the person you're chatting to in that moment, but you don't. So just tie-ho on that a little bit. You might get fixated on one area or one thing, and rather than looking at the big picture. For Libra, I've got regret reversed. Trust me, that's a good thing. That means that something that you may see the potential for regret turns out to be just fine. So, or if they've got something you've regretted in the past, in the more recent past, I would suggest with this energy, it turns around and you go from, oh no, to, oh, no, that's not so bad. It's that kind of sense. If it's an investment, you may sort of take a dip and think, oh my gosh, it's going down, 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 but when it comes back higher than when it was before. You may have a difficult conversation with somebody and wish you hadn't gone there, but they may come back to you and say, you know what, I'm glad we had that talk. Or you may just feel glad afterwards. You may regret having to have that conversation, but you feel good that you've had it. It's very much a bit of a contradictive energy in that way. So it's bad, then good, rather than bad and staying that way or getting worse. So I quite like that for you, Libra. I'd be quite relaxed with that. No. Here we go. This is Scorpio for this week. Temptation. So everybody be ready for Scorpio to throw you under the bus without thought, without regret. Look, this is the card of, I've got the imagery of this card is a devil. He's a stone statue and he's hanging a doll over the edge in a sort of Victorian environment. It's all very orangey. It's sort of like hell, if you like, but muted down. The problem with temptation is we can't fall victim to it without excusing our own behaviours. So for those of you that are working on diet, that are giving up smoking, trying to moderate your behaviours in some way, this will be a challenging week for you. You may feel drawn back into those energies, back into those behaviours. For those of you that get into trouble, you are very likely to say, but what about him? Or what about her? So you're quite happy to throw somebody else into the firing line to get yourself out of trouble this week. If you work with a Scorpio and they get into trouble, you may not like them very much by the end of the week. You may very well think that that was really uncalled for, or you will lose trust. So Scorpio, think a little bit about where you engage that type of energy. We can all be capable of it, so this isn't a Scorpio thing. It's one of those things that especially kids do it, young people, immature people do it, and people that are very self-oriented. That is to say, in the workplace, a distraction technique, I call it really. With kids, it's the same thing. You get into trouble for doing something, and they literally dob in their bro or their sister to take the attention or the trouble off themselves. And parents fall for it. Shame on you, parents. So that's my forecast for the week coming up. I think that as we look at the week's energy, it's probably one of those weeks where we could practice a little bit of separation. I know that we've been talking about distancing and all of that for a long time now, but there's a different way of separating things that are getting a bit volatile. People are getting a bit volatile, and while they can be volatile, they will assume things. They will jump to conclusions about what your intentions and meanings might be. So it might be just worth stepping back, or it might be just pop them. You know, you can mute somebody for 30 days, right? I do it all the time. If they get too racist, I'll delete them off my friend list. I dislike racism intensely, but there are people that go through little wee cycles where all they talk about is what they're angry about for a while, and I'll just give them a muting. I hope people do that to me too, because I go through cycles where I feel very strongly about things, and I want my day to go nice. I don't need a whole page full of negatives. So the way I deal with that is to simply mute somebody for 30 days, and then by the time you come back, they're all good and everybody's happy. So that's how I go with that. And of course, for the topic of our week, this week we're talking about haunted spaces and places, and we've got some really nice stuff for you. So we're going to lead off with Tammy, who has a New York State, not New York City, property that she's been to. Fire away there, Tammy.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, I want to talk about the Shanley Hotel. It's near and dear to my heart. And the house I live up in New York is like maybe 10 minutes away from, and I've been to this place. It's called the Shanley Hotel. It was built in 1845 by a man called Thomas Rich, and this property has been sold many times over. In 1851, he sold it to another guy called Hungerford, and became the Hungerford Hotel, where it was also an elite gentleman's club, and also you'd have a membership to the Distinguished Bordello, which is poorhouse. Then it sold over to another gentleman, Adolf Wagner, in March 1895. So it's a place, it's been sold over and over. In the end, it landed into the name of an owner called James Shanley, which is currently the Shanley Hotel till today. He purchased the hotel in October 1st in 1906. He was married in it. He made changes, put a bowling alley and a barber shop and stuff. He was married in it in April 26, 1910. And then they did the honeymoon with his wife in Washington, D.C., because the wife was friends with Eleanor and the President, Roosevelt, and the President had come to stay at the hotel, too. So, in the end, they had children, and out of all three children died in the house.
Ooh.
His wife had, the first one was a girl, and she was, I think she was 6 months old when she died. Then a couple of years later, they had James Shanley Jr., and he died at 4.5 months old. And then the last son they had was William. He died at 9 months old. And so, like, there's a lot of people that died in this house. Including her. She passed, and they say that she's still roaming the halls looking for her children. Then another man who was hired for the barbershop, his daughter drowned in a well right outside of the hotel. So, and he He later came back and joined with James and became